Let's make braised lamb shanks. Let's make braised lamb shanks. I was in the grocery store the other day and I decided I wanted to switch it up from the normal ground beef. So I got some lamb shanks and today we're going to make braised lamb shanks. So we have to start though with a brine so that we can keep a lot of flavor in the lamb and make them stay moist and tender after cooking them in the oven for a long time. We're going in the pot with a 3/4 cup of salt, half a cup of sugar, handful of peppercorn, thyme, and rosemary. And we just want to bring this up till it dissolves the salt. And once the salt is dissolved, we're going to dump ice into it to cool it down so we can put our lamb in. So now that we've dissolved the salt and the sugar, we're going to dump ice in it to cool it down, put the lamb shanks in, cover it, and put it in the fridge for 12 hours. So now that the lamb shanks are in the brine, we're going to dice our onion, our carrot, our celery, and our garlic, and get everything ready to cook the shanks. And I'm just doing a quick chop on these vegetables. I'm not trying to make it perfect because they're going to get cooked for about 4 hours. So now we're going to pat them dry and we're going to sear them with olive oil on all sides to get them nice and brown. And what that's going to do is add like layers of flavor and just more depth to the dish so that we get that really robust braised lamb flavor. And here I'm just heating some olive oil on medium-high heat until it starts to smoke. And then I'm adding both lamb shanks in to sear for about 2 minutes on each side until they start to get that nice golden brown color. And once we have that, we're going to take the shanks out, add the vegetables in. I've got a good bit of color on all the sides. I'm going to take the shanks out and go right into the same pot with all of our veggies. And then we're going to cook these on pretty high heat until they start to get a little bit of color on them. Again, this is just adding more flavor. Okay, so while the veggies are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt. We don't want to add too much because the shanks have been soaking in salt overnight or for 12 hours. So we're just doing a little bit of salt to start to draw some of the moisture out, and it just, again, is layering flavor little by little throughout each step in the process. Cutie Pookie. How are you so crazy all the time? Okay, so it's really important. Don't stir the veggies until they start to get brown. It may take like up to 5 minutes. Come take a look. Now that we're starting to get some color on the vegetables, we're going to go ahead and add our red wine, about a half a bottle, and start to reduce that wine out. If you want to light it and flambe, you can, but you really don't have to. Just let it cook for a couple minutes. We use about half a bottle of red wine, and then I'm going to use, I guess it's like 20 ounces of canned tomatoes. And then we're going to put the shanks straight in. Just until they're about 3/4 of the way covered. And then we're going to put a lid on this and throw it in the oven for about 3.5 hours at 295. Important thing is before you put it in the oven, you want to make sure you bring the liquid up to a boil and then turn it off and put it in the oven. Otherwise, the timing will be off with how long it takes to come up to temperature in the oven. It's been 3.5 hours at 300 degrees. So we're going to open it and taste it and see if it's done. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. It's like perfectly falling off the bone. That's exactly what you want. You still have all that like collagen that's broken down, and it's so tender, but it's still juicy. Okay, so this is the broth. It's still very chunky and it's kind of loose. That's what we want because we're going to cook it with some pasta. And in the process of making that plate, it's going to thicken up and we're going to have nice texture with the chunk. And since we're doing this one with pasta, I'm going to go ahead and shred it off the bone. That way, oops, it's hot. That way, it's all ready to go on the plate and there's no big bones to try and pick through when you're eating the pasta. Perfect. And one good thing about lamb, especially the shank, is that because it's on the leg, it has a lot of extra connective tissue, which once it's broken down adds lots of richness and flavor. So basically I've got the pasta boiling now, and I'm going to put about a cup of that braising liquid in the vegetables in the pan. There's my little buddy Sonny. And a good handful of the meat. Now, the way that this works with picking it up with pasta is I've got the meat and the braising liquid hot in the pan. And once the pasta's about 85% cooked, I'm going to put it in the pan and let the juices from the braising liquid boil with the pasta and the meat. And what that's going to do is actually draw out starches from the pasta. And that starch mixed with the braising liquid is actually going to thicken the juices so that you get a nice coating on the pasta and you get that flavor in each bite, and it doesn't just all like pool in the bottom of your bowl or the bottom of your dish. Okay, so everything's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the plate and pour everything on top so I get my nice plating, because presentation is key, especially when cooking for your wife. You gotta make sure she's happy. And there you have it. This is braised lamb shanks with homemade pappardelle pasta. That's awesome. Can I say it on YouTube? So the sauce has like a great red wine flavor, but you get the vegetables. All the vegetables are tender. The parm on top adds a nice little touch. The meat is tender, it's juicy, it's rich, it's delicious. Guys, if you like this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel so I can keep making more videos like this for you and for my wife.